Mountain Dew Pitch Black is back, only this time, instead of soda, they're releasing Pokemon cards? Hi, I'm the Sheriff, and today we'll be reviewing Pitch Black for GLC. We're going to be looking at the most relevant cards in the set, and then ranking the types at the very end, like we always do. I do apologize for this getting out a little bit late, but here we are. Just to go over how I rank things real quickly, ranking things 1 through 5, 5 being the best. So the first card we're going to be looking at is Armor Rouge, which is a new Stage 1. Has the attack Flame Legion, does 40 damage, and it does 40 more damage for each of your bench Pokemon that has any fire energy attached. So you could hit very big numbers with this. Up to 240 for a single energy is really good, but technically you would need 6 energy to do this. And you probably would have to attach energy to Pokemon you don't necessarily want to, but if you really did want to do this, you could use Embor to accelerate energy very aggressively once you have it set up. But it is a little bit awkward, so Armor Rouge is going to get a 2. Next we have the Sea King, which is similar to the Kyogre that we have. It has Hydro Jet for 3 colorless. It does 30 damage for each water energy attached to this Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So, like I said, it's similar to Kyogre. You don't have to return the energy, which sometimes is good, sometimes is bad. It is on a Stage 1, which is awkward in itself. Kyogre is a basic. A lot of the times Kyogre is overkilling things though, and Sea King could probably get the job done with less energy. So pros and cons to both. Ultimately, I do think that Kyogre is probably just the stronger play, but still a solid mon. Next we have this Relicanth, which kind of opens up this new archetype of water with fossils. So it has the attack Fossil Beatdown, does 10 damage, but it does 30 more damage for each of your bench Pokemon with Antique in its name, which are fossils. So you could use the new Fossil Excavation Site to aggressively get fossils into play and have this guy be a good early attacker. And then if you needed to afterwards, then you just get to evolve your fossils into the best ones, which in my opinion are things like Tortuga and Aurorus, which are great offensive and defensive options. So he's kind of cool, interesting new archetype to mess around with water. Next we have this Primarina, which is a Stage 2 and has the Max Melody ability. You may use this ability when you evolve this from your hand, heal all damage from one of your Pokemon. So you can tank some hits with Wailord, for example, the king of soaking up damage, and play Primarina to heal it all. But being on a Stage 2, I don't think this is very worth it. I think you would be better off just playing things like Mallow and Lana, or like the healing Ice Cream Cone even. And then like damage reduction cards possibly. Its attack is also like a little bit relevant. Like 120 for 2 is like fine. You're always it is quite common to attack with, say, Intellion, which is essentially doing the same amount of damage for the same amount of energy, just, you know, minus the 20 to the bench. And then you return this Pokemon and all cards attached into your hand, which is nice. And then you could just send up like a Wishy-Washy or an Articuno to kind of protect things on the bench, and then go in with something else the next turn. So it's not the worst, but it is quite awkward, I think, to use. Next into Lightning, we have this Miraidon, which has the ability Photon Cord. If this Pokemon is knocked in the active and is knocked out by damage, you may move 2 basic energy cards from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. So 90 for 2 is like decent. You're KOing a lot of like support Pokemon, and then you get to preserve your energy in play by moving it to some of your, you know, your biggest attackers in the deck, like Regieleki and Electivire. So you could just play the Thundurus instead, which, you know, does 140 for 2, a lot better in some cases, but then it does 90 to itself. But this guy saves your energy, so you don't have to completely rely on your energy accelerants. So he could be a decent option for Lightning. And there is a new way to boost it that we'll get to. Moving on to Psychic, we have Banette, which has the ability Hide and Sneak, which is a theme on a bunch of cards from the set. This Pokemon can't be affected by effects of attacks or abilities from your opponent's Pokemon, so safe from things like Tinapings and Monkey Dory, so that's cool. And then Puppet Pull, for 1 energy, it does 80, and you search your deck for any card and put it into your hand. If you do, shuffle your deck. So a decent attack for cheap. If it was 90 instead, I think this would be way better, because then you could like KO support Pokemon. So this is just like basically only knocking out like setup Pokemon, like basics. So it's fine. It's a strong effect on an attack for sure, but a little lackluster. I don't know if this is quite worth playing. Next we have this Marshadow, which has an interesting attack. Shadow Knot, for 1 energy, does 30 damage times the number of your opponent's active's retreat cost. So you could boost their retreat cost with things like Galar Mine or Gravity Gemstone, for instance, to essentially boost the damage of this to be a very early attacker. And there are relevant attackers right now in the format that have 3 and sometimes even 4 retreat cost by itself. You add in Galar Mine, that goes up to 5 or 6, and suddenly you're doing 150, 180 damage for just 1 energy on a basic. So you kind of do have to build your deck a little bit around this guy, so probably not the best in what we are currently seeing in the Psychic meta, but could be interesting in its own type of deck. I do want to talk about this Annihilate, which unfortunately we currently cannot play, but because it is purple. But it does have the ability Durable Body, and if it would be knocked out by damage, you flip a coin. If heads, the Pokemon is not knocked out, and the remaining HP becomes 10. and then its attack is pretty cool. 100 for 2 is like not great, but then you get to place 5 damage counters on one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, so a little bit of spread. This could be super cool, very similar to the Dragapult, and both of these together would be menaces, but you cannot currently play it. So, moving on to fighting, I do want to point out this Drillbur. Shout out to Jonas for your boy. We've got the new most optimal Drillbur, probably. It has the Call for Family, so you search for 2 basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. So you can immediately go get both your rocks, or, you know, whatever else you want. So, nice Drillbur. But that is the only fighting card we're going to talk about. Next we have Malamar in Dark, which for 1 energy, it confuses your opponent's active Pokemon, and then second attack for 1 does 130, which is good, but you can only use this if their Pokemon is confused. There are a couple cards to confuse your opponent's Pokemon, like Dark Bell or Yellhorn, but this being on a stage 1, I think it is probably just better to go in with other attackers in Dark. Not the worst. You kind of do have to build your deck a little bit around this guy, which I just don't think is worth it, probably. However, we do have this Chi-Yu, which I think is the highlight for Dark decks out of this set. So, basic Pokemon for a single energy, Spiraling Envy does 20 damage, but if this Pokemon has 2 or more damage counters on it, it does 90 more. You do not apply weakness for this attack's damage, unfortunately. That would be a huge boost against Psychic decks, but it's fine. It's still very good. So this obviously pairs very well with the Toxtricity to accelerate energy and places damage, or the Gapejaw Bog to also place damage if you don't have the Toxtricity. So very, very good aggressive attacker that you could consistently rechain. So I think if you're playing a Toxtricity deck, you should be playing this guy. And you could play this guy alongside, like, Hoopa. You know, you could replace him or play it alongside him, really. And between those two and, like, Spiritomb, you've got, like, these very low to the ground, aggressive attackers in Dark, which is pretty cool. He's not, like, groundbreaking, but I do think this guy is a buff to Dark decks. We do have this new Bastiodon in Metal, with the ability, while this Pokemon is on the bench, prevent all damage done to your Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon that have 2 or fewer energy attached. So it punishes your opponent for having low to the ground, efficient attacks, which, like, it blocks the 2 best attackers in the format, which are Iron Boulder and Okidogi, right? There is another Bastiodon to debate playing over this one, which blocks damage from special energy. We are in a pretty special energy heavy meta right now, so I don't know if playing that one would be better than this one, but it is a strong effect, and its attack is also, like, just fine. Like, it's good. 160 is solid for 3. So he's a cool dude. He is a fossil, so pretty awkward to get going, but not the worst. Okay, we do have this Toucannon in Colorless, which is the talk of the town this set, especially after a couple major tournaments like the Full Grip 1K, where this guy dominated Stage 2 has the ability Sky Draw. Once during your turn, you may draw a card. Very great ability. But then its attack does 60 damage for a single colorless, and then it does 20 more for each bench Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's. So this guy can hit absurd damage numbers. Like, it can one-hit KO a whale for a single energy. And the huge thing is this guy also resists fighting. So without the right modifiers, like, Okidogi isn't even like one-hit KOing this guy. So very, very great addition to colorless. You could play this with Skyfield if you wanted to hit over 300 damage. You definitely don't need to, but it is something you can do. And then this also pairs quite well with Mallow, where you can stack whatever you want on top and then just draw straight into it, especially if you have like Squovit. So very, very good, strong dude. Very, very balanced, being a stage 2. You can't just reoccur this guy, but very, very good. We have the Silvally, which is a stage 1 call a buddy ability. Once during your turn, you may use this ability if you have no cards in your hand. Search your deck for a support or reveal it, put it in your hand. So very steep cost. You can like Squovit into like maybe a playable card and then use this guy to go get a supporter, but I think just using the already existing draw engine in colorless is just fine. Like, it's the best draw engine actually, and even just like playing Pelipper over this guy is just better. Like, you just play Pelipper and then scoop it up and play it again. Like, it's just way more consistent. He does have the Air Slash attack for 130 for 3, which is like not that great. But you do have the option of playing Flyinium Z, but I just don't think it is worth playing this guy. We have this Bombardier, which is kind of funny. For 2 energy, you flip 2 coins. If both are heads, you search your deck for a Pokemon and put it onto your bench. So you could get like Slacking or like Porygon or Archeops right onto your bench without having to evolve it. But 2 energy is steep. 2 heads is very steep. So wait, I don't know why I have Skyfield up here. I'm sorry. Very, very, very steep. So I don't think this guy is going to see play. We do have the new fossils. Starting off with the trainers, we have the Armor Fossil, which you can evolve into Bastiodon with. I think these are the 2 best Bastiodons, the most relevant ones to use if you so desire. And we have a Antique Skull Fossil now as well. And I think these are the most relevant Rampardos to use. Yeah, the thing is, like, in like a mirror or something, like the decks don't really want to like have low hand sizes. They usually like to play their hand up, have a huge hand, especially like other fighting decks and psychic decks. So the first one I think would be quite relevant, and now you can use it with Antique Skull Fossil. We do have this Backtrack Badge, which is just a trick coin but for colorless Pokemon, so you could use this alongside Trick Coin. I tried to find like the most relevant colorless Pokemon to pair this with, which are like all typically all control cards. I guess that's not true. Unpheasant is an attacker, which is interesting that you could play this with. And then the Blissey is kind of nuts. Expensive a little bit, but you do have the triple acceleration energy. And then this Watchog and Stoutland could use this in a control deck if you so desired. But those decks, even with having Trick Coin be a thing, have seen no play, so probably just not relevant enough. We do have the Dark Bell, which is like only useful for this Malamar, and is just probably not worth playing. We do have the Fossil Quarry, which we talked about earlier, which is a new stadium. Once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for up to 2 item cards that have Antique in their name and put them onto their bench, and then you shuffle your deck. So very relevant for decks like Archeops, for Water, with like Aurorus and the Turtle. And then especially if you wanted to play a Fossil fighting deck, you have things like the Tyrantrum and the Ancient Power Archeops, which is just insane. So very strong for Fossil decks. Very, very strong. We have Gladian's Final Battle, which is a new supporter. You can only use it if it's the last card in your hand, so supposed to be paired with like the Silvally, right? During this turn, attacks used by your Pokemon that don't have a rule box do 80 more damage. So I'm thinking that this card would probably only work in like a colorless deck that you could like pair with Swellow and take big KOs with, or something like that, or try and make it work in like a double attacking grass deck that uses Jumpluff and like Festival Lead. But I think it's just like too much to ask for more damage, because you have to play from a 0 card hand, and you could play, you know, Pokemon that refresh your hand, but I just think it is just too hard to consistently pull off. It is a strong effect, but the drawback is just too much. Next we have this Gwyn, which you discard up to 2 Pokemon that don't have rule box, which is all Pokemon in GLC, and draw 3 cards for each card you discarded this way. So at max, you're drawing 6, which is pretty good. You could pair this with like Psychic, right? You discard Giratina and Gengar, and then you get to like use their abilities, which is cool. Or use it with Execute, because you can just get it back. But I think you just play stronger draw cards that already exist. Yeah. We do have this Misty's Vitality, which I do think is quite a good card, where you search your deck for up to 4 basic water energy cards and attach them to one of your Pokemon, and then shuffle your deck. Your turn ends. So it's like, what is it, Kiawe? Or whatever. This card already exists for fire type, but now it's in water, and I think it's way more consistent to pull off in water, because you have things like Drizzile to search this out, where you could immediately have a Wailmer or Wailord powered up for the next turn, and you don't have to necessarily rely on getting your energy accelerator out like Frostmoth or Baxcalibur. So this is quite strong, obviously, going like on your first or second turn. So I think it is quite good. I think it's worth exploring at least. I'm probably ranking this too high, but I think it's interesting. Next, we have the Rust Syndicate Grunt. You can only use this if any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, so same effect as like Teammates or Raihan. So you're playing this over them for perspective, and it says discard an energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon. I think that playing things like Team Flare Grunt or Plumeria are just better, or just play items like Enhanced Hammer. Yeah, this card is like only going in control decks, and even control decks I don't think want to play this card. So that's it for trainers. So we have 2 new energy cards. One is great, the other is bad. As you can see, it's this one that is bad. Shadowy Dark Energy. As long as it's attached to a Pokemon, it provides dark. As long as it's attached to a dark Pokemon, prevent all damage done to it by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So it's a bench barrier, but only for a single Pokemon, and you have to waste your energy attachment on that Pokemon, and usually that Pokemon that you want to protect is a support Pokemon that you don't want to be attaching energy to. So like, this card is just redundant, it's terrible. Don't play this card. However, we do have this Voltaic Lightning Energy, huge boost to Lightning. When it's attached to a Lightning Pokemon, they do 20 more damage. So this is a powerful colorless energy, or a strong energy for Lightning Pokemon now, which is amazing. I think all Lightning decks are going to be using this. It's so good. Just boosting just a little bit of damage makes all the difference, especially for Lightning decks. So yeah, just amazing card. And that is all the cards. Looking at the tier list, nothing has changed. You could probably put colorless in front of grass if you really wanted to. I don't think it's quite S tier, but the recent results in tournaments would say otherwise. I don't know. I still think Psychic and Fighting are better decks. But, you know, the argument could be had to put it above grass and even water. So if you think that's true, let me know in the comments. If I missed any cards, let me know as well, and we can talk about that. So yeah, anyways, thank you Mountain Dew for the new cards. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.